You know, my beautiful friends, there's a Torah from Reb Nachman. You think people are only close when they love each other? Imagine, I'm so angry at you. I want to tear you apart because it's so bad. You are my close to you. You are my close to you. Weißt du, Reb Nachman sagt, wenn du jemand böse bist, bist du auch sehr nah zu den Menschen. Überall bist du nah. Right? Unglaublich. Right? So Reb Nachman sagt, wenn du auf jemand böse bist, moment, if I would turn it around, if I would know how to do it, at that moment we could become the best friends in the world. You know, I was recently in Germany on television, so I said a Gewalt Torah. I think I told it to Franz and Elizabeth. Basically, anti-Semites are Gewalt, right? They're thinking about Jews day and night. Gewalt, you know, an Eskimo in Alaska, he doesn't care about the Jews one way or the other. An anti-Semite thinks about us day and night. Oh, the only thing he does, he thinks bad, right? You see what it is? The biggest anti-Semite is Esau, who's the brother of Yaakov, right? Esau thinks about Yaakov day and night, right? Because it's his brother. What? Yeah, right. You know what the hypocrite is? Oh, that's a different story. You know what Nabi Korah says? And Nabi Korah says, God knows that I know that there is no God, you know. Well, I heard the hypocrite is somebody who writes a book about not believing in God and then goes to shul to pray, it should sell, you know. Anyway. See, Reb Nachman begins to say, you think you're closest to God when you're close? When you're far away. And you can't go any further. You're also so close. Gewalt, that you're close. You know, imagine I'm sitting and I'm thinking to myself, Gewalt, am I far from the Torah? I'm not learning, I'm not davening, I'm not doing anything. I'm at the end. Gewalt, am I close? Because if you would really be far away, you wouldn't think about it. You wouldn't think about it. You know what happens to us on Yom Kippur? I think I'm far away, but not that badly yet. On Tisha B'av, I say, where should go out of I'm far from you? You know why I'm not learning Torah on Tisha B'av? Because it's clear to me. I'm so far from the Torah. I'm so far. But if I wouldn't be so close, how would I know that I'm far? So Reb Nachman begins to say, when I reach the lowest level, when God is hiding the most, this is when He is hiding the least. Because He was really hiding. How do you know He's hiding? You know, hiding means that you don't know where I am. In Gewalt, the way God is hiding, and you're so broken that He's hiding, Gewalt is here. He is right there. Okay, let's put it this way. Remember, we're learning it 1,000 times. We have garments, we have thoughts, we have actions. And then it's me. Forget about everything. Not what I'm doing, not what I'm thinking. Why do you think I'm so far? Because of my garments. I did everything wrong. I do everything wrong. Yeah, that's good. Forget about the garments. Forget about the garments. I'll tell you something. Sometimes I have the privilege, I'm sure David and Mel doing it better, but sometimes humble me, people come, married couples, and they talk to me. I remember one time, it was mamish gefährlich, They were mamish killing each other. They were mamish killing each other. They were telling each other the worst things in the world. And there was one moment I could feel Gewalt. Gewalt, do they love each other? Because they wouldn't care. Who cares, right? Who cares? Listen, if I don't love you, do I care what you're doing? Just don't give a damn. When someone says to you, Gewalt, you insulted me. You know what they're telling you? Not that you insulted them, that they want so much of you to approve of them. So Reb Nachman says, I remember one time with this couple, they came to me, talk about the divorce, that's it. And I was sitting there and they started yelling at each other. And suddenly I see, when you yell, you also get close to a person, right? You yell, yell, yell. And suddenly I see that their faces are so close, yelling at each other like crazy. All you need is to put them together. I say, Chavich, stop for a moment. I pushed them together. They were kissing each other so much. I walked out from the room, and about 2 hours later they came back. They were glowing like crazy. They're still married, Baruch Hashem. When you yell at somebody, when you feel far, Gewalt, you're close. Gewalt, you're close. The only thing is, Reb Nachman says, the deepest Torah in the world. You have to be very deep to know exactly the 1 second when you are so far that you're the closest. Friends, this is so deep. When is Mashiach coming? Mashiach is coming when the world reaches bottom. When the world is full of hatred, and suddenly realize, can't go any further. Can't go any further. Friends, if I know that you are hiding, how come I know you so well? How come I know that you're hiding? You're just not there. Okay, let's start from there. Weißt du, manchmal, wenn Gott sich, wie sagt man, verstecken auf Deutsch, ja? In der Sekunde kannst du am nächsten kommen. Weißt du? Why is God hiding? What does it mean God is hiding? I'm sure most of you heard about it. There is a concept called Shviras HaKelim. That sometimes the vessels break. Imagine I'm going to a lecture by Professor Einstein. I know nothing about physics and mathematics. What will happen to me? I'll sit there. I never have such a big headache in my life. Because my brain can take it, right? I'm bursting. You think people only break because they're empty? People can also break because they're so full. You think we made the golden calf because we were empty? It was so much we couldn't bear it anymore. It was too much. It was too much. And you see what it is? The fixing is the holy temple. The holy temple is exactly the light and the vessels are balanced. But anyway, let's turn here. He says, when did God take us out of Egypt? God took us out of Egypt at that moment when we reached bottom, right? I mean, just take our generation. When did God take us back to Israel? For 2,000 years we were going down, 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 down. When did we reach bottom? In Auschwitz. We had no other place to go from there. Where do you go from Auschwitz? There's no other place. And want you to know something? I spoke to a lot of people. Do you think God was not in Auschwitz? Was there any place where he was more than in Auschwitz? I want you to know something? Most of today people talk differently. There was a time when people were saying God is dead because of Auschwitz. But you know what it is? If we Jewish people, if we would have begun killing people, I would say God is dead. You are teaching us for 4,000 people and we are murders? You're a bad teacher. But you know who killed us? The non-God people. Do you need more proof that there's one God? As much as I don't understand it, right? Weißt du, Menschen sagen, Gott ist tot nach Auschwitz. Aber ich sage immer so, weißt du, wenn wir Menschen töten würden, würde ich sagen, Gott ist tot. Seine Menschen töten Menschen. Aber es ist doch die Nicht-Gott-Menschen, die das tun. Die Nicht-Gottes-Menschen. Obwohl ich nicht verstehe, obwohl I still don't understand God why. So what do you say?
There was a conference, they have all the time, but there was a conference, they had apparently invited a couple of rabbis to be there, and they were talking about how could this be? Is this the culmination of, the thousands of years of Jewish culture? And this one rabbi, Reformed rabbi, said, excuse me, he says, the Holocaust isn't the culmination of 4,000 years of Jewish history, it's a culmination of 2,000 years of Christian history. I mean, it was like they could see, how could this, this is what happens to the Jews, he says, no, this is what these people did to them. Turn it out. I mean, they just completely,
Had nobody to talk to. And I was waiting for one Jew I can talk to. He said, I want you to know this person whom you gave the record, he reads poetry. And especially he reads the prophets. He came to my monastery and he was reading some prophets, and this background music he was playing my record. So he says, when I heard your music, it was clear to me that you are the Jew I want to talk to. It's unbelievable. So, unbelievable. So, anyway,
what happened?
So I wrote back to him. I said, listen, brother, I'm going to Israel in 3 weeks, but if you want, I can make a stop in Holland and come to visit you. So his monastery is really like hidden away. From Amsterdam, you have to travel with a little choo-choo train right into the country for 3 hours. And then from the choo-choo train, he has to pick me up by car another 3 hours. It was really beautiful. It's my first time going there. So this heat was going with me. It was very beautiful. We woke up 4 in the morning, went to the mikveh, make us strong. And then we went there. He picked me up, and it was so sweet. He says to me, I know that your concerts are very, very beautiful and people dance. He said, well, my monks, they're completely removed from life. I don't think they'll respond, so please don't be angry if they sit there, like Lokshen. I tell you, what kind of a concert it was? Awesome. Singing to high heaven. I'll never forget it. After the concert, it was in the morning, like from 11 to 1, and we went out in the garden, and we were sitting there. And they always pray the Psalms. I says, do you know the Psalms? They say, yeah, we read it in Dutch. I say, it's very cute, but it's not what the Psalms are all about. And I began learning with them a few passages of the Psalms. They couldn't believe it, They could not believe how much one passage in the Psalms has depth. It's awesome. Anyway, I'll make it very fast. This was maybe 63. 15 years later, I'm giving a concert in Curacao. You know where Curacao is? It's outside Venezuela here. It's outside Venezuela. And the rabbi says to me, I asked him, do you have musicians for me? He says, yes, we have one, but it's supposed to be a secret, a surprise, but I'll tell you now. He said, I want you to know that a few months ago, a new bishop came to Curacao. And every year, there is like all the religions get together, and every religion has 3 songs, and then the one that sings the best gets a prize. He says, so the bishop calls me up, he says, if I can permit him to sing 3 songs. I say, you don't need my permission, you're bishop. He says, no, you don't understand. I want to be on the Jewish side. I want to sing for the Yidden. So he says to him, this is crazy. He says, I want you to know I'm a big Shlomo Carlebach fan. I have all his records and I sing his songs all the time. Anyway, the bishop sang, he sang 3 songs. Haneshom Malach. He sang Esu Einai and Lulet Rosh Hashanah. Yeah, and he got a prize. Anyway, he says he's coming tonight. I want you to know this abbey had like an assistant abbey. A young man, mamish, unbelievable. It was so crazy, when I was learning Tillim with them. He says to me, if I had guts, he says, if I had guts, I would go with you now to Israel. He says, even just to learn the book of Psalms, it's more beautiful than all of life can ever offer me here in a monastery. Anyway, so this young man, I knew something special happened to him. So anyway, he became the bishop in Curacao, and Mama, she came out all dressed in white, How did we come about the Holocaust? So the Abbey was talking to me, The truth is, he left the church after I was there. He said, can't be there. Can't. Someone just told me lately from Holland, it's really heartbreaking. He's so downhearted that he was an Abbey. He was sitting in Besmelders in Amsterdam all the time. I was in Amsterdam and Besmelders, suddenly the door opened. He came in, But yet he doesn't have, he feels so bad. He didn't do it, but he was part of part of this organization who did it, you just, you can't find this place in the world. I said to him, listen, Brother Abi, you have to go to Israel, you have to convert, you have to have children, and live like a mensch, And he says, in German, he said, eines Tages, one day. Weißt du, der Abi hat mir gesagt, wie 15 Jahre alt war, hat immer gesucht, einen Juden, mit dem sprechen kann. Und wie meine Schallplatte gehört hat, beschlossen, dass ich bin der Jude, mit dem sprechen will. So you hear, friends, it's getting late. Friends, just give me just one more minute. When is Kiddush HaChodesh? When does Rosh Chodesh begin? At that very moment when the moon is completely hidden. At that moment when the moon is completely hidden, at that very instant it begins to shine again. But you know what it is? At that moment when the moon begins to shine, this one ray of light is deeper than the full moon 1,000 times. Because when is for us Rosh Chodesh? When is the new month? At that moment when the ray is showing. I'll tell you something very, very deep. I love this girl very much. And she never talks to me. One day I walk on the street, and I just say hello to her, and she turns her whole face to me, her whole heart, walks away. So I'm married to her. But you know what was the deepest connection? That one split second. That one split second when she looked at me. See, this 1 second, when it's so dark, there's nothing there. This one ray of light. Gewalt is it deep. You see what it is? Remember we were learning it. There is the thing itself and the connection to it. You know, friends, when I sit next to somebody, I don't talk about connection. When do you talk about connection? When you're far away. When you're far away. You remember we were learning it all the time. When do you know how much you love a person? Not when you sit with them. When you say goodbye to them, right? When they walk away. See, I love this girl very much. Say goodbye to her. And she walks away. I turn around and I call another girl. Wasn't so hot. I love this girl very much. She walks away. And I'm standing there glued. Because she took my whole heart. You're so connected. Gewalt, right? You see what it is? On Tisha B'av. It's crazy. The Holy Temple is destroyed for 2,000 years, and we are still crying. And this is not my own Torah, it's the Torah of Reb Yitzchak. He says there was a couple, and then they split. And after 2,000 years, they're still angry at each other. So Reb Yitzchak says this is crazy. You are still angry? You didn't get over it yet? He says, if you're after 2,000 years you're still angry, you better get together. So he puts it in a postic. He says, Rabbi Stein, after 2,000 years you're still angry at us? You better take us back. So Reb Nachman says, at that very instant, when it's darkest, this is when the greatest light of all shines. This little light, this connection. One ray of light, but this ray so deep, so deep. And you see, on TishaB'av, I'm not learning Torah. Because what I am learning on TishaB'av is the deepest, deepest depths of the Torah. The Torah of being connected to the Torah. The Torah of being connected to God. So you see, on Yom Kippur, it's not dark enough. On Yom Kippur, the moon is shining. I just want you to know something. Kiddush HaChodesh, Tisha B'av night, is the biggest Kiddush HaChodesh, blessing of the new moon of the year. Yom Kippur also, but Tisha B'av the most. Tisha B'av the most. Because after Tisha B'av, I realized I need mamash. You know, if I'm so connected to the Torah, why don't I learn more? If I'm so connected, why don't I do it? You see, you know what our problem is? We have no idea how much we are connected. I don't want to say anything bad because, okay, some of us are still living a little bit in Dallas and in London and in New York, half and half. You know why we are still there? Because we have no idea how much we are connected. If mamash, imagine God would shine into me, and I would mamash know I cannot live outside Yerushalayim, I'd be there, right? I think I can make it outside also. On Tisha B'av, what God is shining into me, I'm so connected to the Beis HaMikdash. I'm so connected to everything God created that there has to be redemption to the world. There has to be. Well, you know something? I know Meir would say something gewalt. You know, the Gemara says, one of the Tanoim was very sick and he was lying on the floor, was half dead. It says, Yoev le'yodi ve'ukmi, he gave him his hand and he lifted him up. And this is from Pinchas Kortzer. I mean, if he lifts him up, does he have to give him his hand? He would say, I bless you, you should get up. So he says, you know why people are sick? I mean, today in psychology, people are sick because they think they have to be sick. They themselves don't believe that they have to be well. So he says, swear to me that you don't think you have to be sick. Yoev le'yodi, give me your hand, right? Kiyas Kav. Anyway, on Tisha B'av, I mamash swear to myself. I want you to know something. When you stand in front of Rockefeller Center, do you feel like putting your hands on the stones? Why not? It's a beautiful building. How come when you stand by the holy wall, mamash, you want to touch the wall so much? But the answer is very simple. When I put my hands on the holy wall, it's on the level of Yohev le'Yodeh ve'ukma. Mamash, I come to the holy wall and I swear. You know, when you swear, you have to have some holy object in your hands, right? So I put my hands on the holy wall, and mamash swear. Everybody on his level, whatever he promises. Basically, you know, the whole idea of shaking hands with people. Basically, when I shake your hands, means I swear to you, I love you. Swear to you. Anyway, I bless you that we should, all the vows we're making on Tisha B'av, we should really keep. Just keep them a little bit. You know, children need their parents' hands the most. Right? Because children want their parents to swear to them every second that they love them. Every second. You know, when you love somebody very much, you hold their hand. Stupid, right? What are you holding their hands for? But every second to swear to you. You know, for me, I'm sure for you too, I see couples that don't hold hands anymore. They always say, when you see men and women holding hands, I'm sure they're just engaged, they're not married yet. Because after they're married, they're not holding hands, they're like two Lokschen, you know. Like two Apfelstrudel next to each other, right? You know what it means holding hands? I swear to you, I love you. But when they're married, they think I swore once and that's enough. It doesn't go this way. You have to swear 2 million times a second. Anyway, Mel, let's see what you say.
Okay, we're at the end a little bit, time-wise, but we're only at the beginning of, I'm sure, of how much we need to learn still. Basically, you know, there are many different reasons, or not reasons, why we hate people. Like Shlomo was saying, sometimes I hate someone because they're so bad to me. So I hate that person. Sometimes I hate someone not because they're so bad to me, but just because they weren't good to me. If I hate someone because they're bad to me, it means that I don't have to have been at one point connected to them. An anti-Semite comes up to me and says, dirty Jew, he hates me, so I'm not too happy about him either, right? Like Shlomo was saying, if we kricha into the insides of the anti-Semite, why is he thinking so much about me? So there's always connection. But basically, there's so many people in the world that don't like me because they don't like me. So I don't like them, they don't like me. Then there's that person that the reason I don't like them, they didn't ever do anything bad to me. It's just that I wish they would be good to me. How did it all start between these two individuals on whose account the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed? Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. So there was a long story between them, right? There was a whole long geschäft. Why this one and that one? They didn't like each other. But the triggering mechanism wasn't that someone was bad to someone. The triggering mechanism simply was, I wish you'd be good to me. When Kamsa, the wrong Kamsa, is sitting by the party, and the host is asking him to leave, and he says, okay, please don't do this to me. I'll pay for half the cost of the whole party. I'll pay for the whole party. So he embarrassed them. He left. And he became a mortal enemy of that person and a mortal enemy of the Jewish people. But basically, the whole thing started because someone wasn't willing to be good to someone else. And it's very complicated. Either what makes me hate someone, or even what makes me not want to be good to someone. You know that we have the two mothers, our mother Rachel and our mother Leah. And both of them were married to Yaakov. And the Torah says, when Yaakov saw Rachel, he knew he wanted to be good. He wanted to be good to her. When he saw Leah, it doesn't say anywhere he wanted to do bad, God forbid, to her. He just didn't want to be as good to her as he was to Rachel, right? And then a few lines later, the Torah continues. It says, Vayah Hashem ki snua Leah. Hashem saw that Leah was hated. And all of our great rabbis talk about this. Could it possibly be that our father Yaakov hated Leah? Was there room in Yaakov Avinu's heart to hate? impossible. Certainly not Leah. But not being good the way you could be good is also a shtickle already, like hating. If I don't meet someone's expectation of how good they expect me to be to them, I'm already walking down that road that has to do with sinas chinam. And during these 9 days, like the title of this series, we're breaking down the walls. And it's not only about not hating, it's about learning how to be good. And as you all know, we read the Haftarah of Shabbos Chazon, the words of the prophet Isaiah, Tzion b'mishpat tipadeh. He says, Zion will be redeemed. How will it be redeemed? V'shaveh b'tzedakah. It's not enough, I don't do bad. That's the first half. Tzion b'mishpat tipadeh. Zion will be redeemed via the attribute of justice. What does justice mean? Justice means I don't do bad to someone. Where it's not indicated to harm someone, I don't harm them. I treat them according to the letter of the law. That's the first half. So that removes a big chunk of what goes wrong between me and other people, between parts of the Jewish people, between the Jewish people and the world, right? If we don't do the wrong things to each other. But that doesn't remove the hatred, because you need more than that. You need charity, you need tzedakah. In order to get to the roots of it, you have to do the good that someone is expecting you to do to them. You have to receive the good that you expect someone else to do to you. And it's only with the second half that Zion is redeemed. It's only with the culmination of that we do the fixing. And so these are days like we were learning here today, where we're chipping away at basically the walls in our hearts. And it all begins, if I want to be good to someone, if I want to not be bad to someone, so the point of departure is what's going on with me and myself. How do I feel about myself? Can I afford not to be bad to myself? And can I afford to be good to myself? And hopefully as we begin to be good to ourselves and others begin to be good to us, it's going to emanate. And Tzion b'mishpat tipadeh v'shaveh b'tzedakah. Yeah.